No one could get the millionaire's daughter to sleep until the new nanny arrived, and Michael Reynolds walked through the halls of his Beverly Hills mansion like a ghost. His construction business was thriving, but his personal life had been falling apart for 3 months, ever since his wife Jennifer left, leaving only a letter and an immense void. Little Emma, just 2.5 years old, hadn't slept more than an hour straight since then. She was the 16th nanny in 2 months. They all left exhausted, some even in tears, saying the girl seemed inconsolable during the night. Desperation filled the house when Emma screamed non-stop, calling for the mother who wouldn't return. "Mr. Michael, I can't take it anymore," said Nancy, the nanny who had just completed 3 days on the job. "The girl won't sleep, won't eat properly, and when she finally does fall asleep, she wakes up screaming as if she's seen something terrible." Michael ran his hands over his tired face. The dark circles under his eyes were deep, and he himself barely slept, torn between worries for his daughter and the demands of his business, which he couldn't neglect. His employees had already started commenting on his worn-out appearance during meetings. "Please, Nancy, just a few more days. I'll raise your salary," he pleaded. "It's not about the money, sir. I just don't know what else to do. I've tried everything. Lullabies, stories, warm milk, chamomile tea. Nothing works. The girl cries as if she's carrying a pain even she doesn't understand." That afternoon, Nancy packed her bags and left, leaving Michael alone with Emma, who was crying in her pink room decorated with teddy bears and princesses. The cheerful decor contrasted with the heavy sadness that hung over the house. His secretary at the company, Mrs. Jenkins, a 65-year-old woman who had worked with Michael for over 15 years, called late that afternoon. "Michael, my dear, you can't go on like this. The girl needs care and you need to work. I have a recommendation that might help. Mrs. Jenkins, I've tried everything. Specialized nannies, nurses, even a child psychologist. Nothing works," Michael replied, defeated by exhaustion. "This one's different. She's my housekeeper's niece. Her name is Jasmine. She's 24. She doesn't have formal nanny experience, but she raised her younger siblings from a young age. She has a special way with difficult children." Michael hesitated. After so many qualified professionals, hiring someone without experience seemed risky. But desperation won out. "All right. Have her come tomorrow morning." The next morning, Jasmine Washington rang the mansion's doorbell. Michael opened the door and saw a young black woman of average height, her hair in braids, wearing simple jeans and a white blouse. Her eyes carried a calmness that contrasted with the tension dominating the house. "Good morning, Mr. Michael. I'm Jasmine, Mrs. Jenkins told me about your daughter's situation. Come in, please. But I should warn you, we've already tried many qualified nannies. Emma is a complicated child ever since her mother left." Jasmine nodded understandingly, showing no intimidation. She followed Michael to the living room, discreetly observing every detail of the house. She noticed the absence of a woman's touch in the spaces, as if someone had erased all traces of maternal presence. "Where's Emma now?" Jasmine asked. "In her room with the maid. She barely slept 2 hours last night. She's cranky and exhausted." Michael led Jasmine to the nursery. Emma was sitting in her crib, her little face red from crying, while Margaret, the housekeeper, tried to distract her with colorful toys. "Emma, come here, sweetheart." "This is Aunt Jasmine," Michael said, reaching out to pick up his daughter. The girl shrank back, pressing against the crib railing and eyeing the newcomer suspiciously. Jasmine didn't approach immediately. She sat on the floor at the child's level and simply smiled. "Hi, Emma. You're so pretty," Jasmine said softly. "Do you like your teddy bears? I liked teddy bears too when I was little like you." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. Emma stopped whimpering and watched Jasmine with curiosity. There was something different about this woman, a calmness the other nannies didn't have. Michael noticed the immediate change in his daughter's behavior. "She usually isn't this quiet with strangers," Michael remarked, surprised. "Children sense when someone is genuinely interested in them, not just fulfilling an obligation," Jasmine replied, never taking her eyes off Emma. During that first afternoon, Jasmine didn't force closeness. She played on the floor near Emma, hummed soft songs her own mother used to sing to her as a child in rural Alabama, and gradually, the little girl began to take an interest in her. Michael watched from the doorway, impressed. Within hours, Emma was calmer than she'd been in weeks. By dinner time, the girl ate all her food without a tantrum, something that hadn't happened in ages. "How did you do it?" Michael asked, as Jasmine gave Emma a bath. "I think she really misses her mother. She needs someone patient enough to understand that pain, not someone who just tries to make her forget," Jasmine explained, while Emma played with rubber ducks in the tub. The first night would be the real test. Emma always got more restless when it got dark, as if the silence of night made her mother's absence feel worse. Michael braced himself for another long night of crying, but something different happened. Jasmine sat beside the crib and began telling a story her grandmother used to tell her, about a star that watched over children at night. Her voice had a soothing melody that even calmed Michael, who listened from the hallway. Once upon a time, there was a very special little star who lived in the sky. Her job was to watch over all the children in the world while they slept. When a child felt lonely or scared, the little star sent them beautiful dreams so they'd know they were never truly alone. Emma listened intently, her eyelids growing heavy. For the first time in months, she didn't cry when Jasmine turned off the light. She slept for 4 hours straight, a miracle by the household's recent standards. Michael woke with a start at 5 in the morning, surprised by the silence. He rushed to Emma's room and found her sleeping peacefully, while Jasmine rested in the armchair beside the crib. "She slept through the night," Michael whispered, disbelieving. "She woke up once but went back to sleep after I sang to her," Jasmine replied quietly. In the days that followed, the household routine began to change. Emma started smiling again, played more, and ate better. Michael could sleep a few hours straight for the first time in months, which improved his mood and focus at work. But not everything was perfect. Margaret, the housekeeper, who'd worked there for 15 years, began showing jealousy over how quickly Emma had taken to the new nanny. "Mr. Michael, I find it strange how this young woman managed what qualified professionals couldn't. I don't know if she's trustworthy," Margaret commented while serving breakfast. "Margaret, for the first time in months, Emma is doing well. I won't question methods that work," Michael replied, though a small seed of doubt began to grow in his mind. The housekeeper kept bringing it up in the following days, planting more uncertainty. He commented on Jasmine's lack of formal references, on how she sang songs no one knew, about her unconventional methods. A week later, Michael decided to discreetly install a baby monitor in Emma's room to observe Jasmine's techniques. He wanted to understand what made her so special during the late hours. On the first night with the camera, he watched Jasmine talking to Emma as if the girl were an adult, explaining in simple words why her mother had left, validating the child's feelings of abandonment instead of trying to distract her. "Your mommy had to go away, Emma, but that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Sometimes grown-ups get very sad and need to step away to feel better, but you have so many people who care for you here," Jasmine said, gently stroking the girl's blonde hair. Michael was moved, realizing Jasmine treated his daughter with the honesty he himself hadn't been able to muster. He had always tried to hide the truth about Jennifer's departure, making excuses about never-ending work trips. During the day, Michael began paying closer attention to the interactions between Jasmine and Emma. The young nanny had endless patience, never got frustrated with the girl's tantrums, and always found creative ways to turn difficult moments into playful opportunities. "Jasmine, can I ask where you learned to handle children so well?" Michael asked one afternoon while Emma napped. "My mother worked a lot when I was little. I took care of my 3 younger siblings since I was 12. I learned that kids aren't problematic, they're just trying to communicate something they don't know how to put into words," Jasmine replied, organizing Emma's toys. "And your family? Where are they now?" Jasmine's expression dimmed slightly. "My mother passed away last year. My siblings are all grown now, each on their own path. I came to New York City looking for better opportunities." Michael sensed there was more to her answer, but respected Jasmine's privacy. In the following days, he began noticing small details about her, how she looked fondly at the remaining family photos around the house, How her expression darkened when Emma called out for Mommy, how she devoted herself completely to the girl's care. One afternoon, while Emma played in the garden under Jasmine's watch, Michael received an unexpected call. It was his mother-in-law, Mrs. Richardson, Jennifer's mother. "Michael, we need to talk about Emma. I heard you hired a new nanny." "Mrs. Richardson, it's good to hear your voice. Yes, Jasmine has been doing a wonderful job. Emma's finally sleeping through the night again." "That's exactly what I wanted to discuss. I have some concerns. Can I come by tomorrow?" The call left Michael uneasy. Mrs. Richardson had always been a demanding mother-in-law, and after Jennifer left, she had distanced herself, claiming that seeing Emma reminded her too much of her daughter. What could have made her change her mind now? The next day, Mrs. Richardson arrived at the mansion. A 70-year-old woman, always impeccably dressed with an authoritative demeanor that intimidated many. She watched Jasmine with a critical eye as the young woman played with Emma in the garden. "She's too young, Michael, and she has no formal qualifications. How can you trust someone like that with your daughter?" Mrs. Richardson said, not even bothering to greet Jasmine. "Mrs. Richardson, with all due respect, she's the first nanny who's gotten Emma to sleep properly since Jennifer left. The results speak for themselves. Temporary results, perhaps. But do you know her story? Where she comes from? What kind of family she has?" His mother-in-law's questions lingered in Michael's mind for the rest of the day. He realized he truly knew very little about Jasmine's past. The trust he had placed in her was based solely on the results with Emma, not on knowledge about her personal life. That evening, after Emma had fallen asleep, Michael decided to talk more deeply with Jasmine. "Jasmine, would you mind telling me more about your life before you came to work here? Not out of distrust, but to get to know you better." Jasmine hesitated for a moment, as if deciding how much of the truth she could share. "I grew up in Mobile, Alabama. My mother worked as a housekeeper to support the family. I never knew my father. When she got sick, I moved to New York City, hoping to find better work and pay for her treatment." "And did you?" "Not in time," Jasmine replied, her voice breaking. "She passed away 3 months before I got this job. I was working as a cashier at a store downtown, making very little." The story deeply moved Michael. He recognized in Jasmine's pain echoes of his own experience with loss. Perhaps that was why she connected so well with Emma. They both knew the emptiness left by someone essential being gone. "I'm so sorry for your loss," Michael said sincerely. "Thank you. That's why I understand Emma so well. I know what it's like to feel like someone important is gone and won't come back. The difference is, she still has you, and she needs to feel that." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. Jasmine's words made Michael reflect on his own behavior as a father. Since Jennifer left, he had focused so much on keeping the business running that he had emotionally distanced himself from Emma. Jasmine was doing more than just looking after the girl. She was filling a paternal void he himself had created. In the days that followed, Michael began coming home earlier, taking part in Emma's routine and observing Jasmine's methods. He learned that she used everyday moments to teach important values, sharing toys, saying grace before meals, tending to the garden plants. "Why do you have Emma help water the plants?" Michael asked one afternoon. "Because caring for something that grows and depends on her helps her feel important and capable. It's a way to turn the feeling of abandonment into a sense of responsibility," Jasmine explained, as Emma watered the roses with a small watering can. Jasmine's practical wisdom impressed Michael more and more. She hadn't studied child psychology, but she had an intuitive understanding of Emma's emotional needs that many professionals lacked. A month after Jasmine's arrival, life in the house had completely transformed. Emma smiled often, slept through the night, and had even started affectionately calling Jasmine Aunt Jasmine. The little girl had returned to playing, exploring the garden, and showing interest in activities she'd abandoned after her mother left. But their peace would soon be tested again. One afternoon, as Jasmine took Emma for a walk in the park near the house, they ran into Jennifer. Michael's ex-wife was sitting on a bench watching the children play. When she saw Emma running around the playground with Jasmine, her eyes filled with tears. The little girl didn't recognize her right away. 3 months is an eternity in the memory of a 2-year-old. "Emma?" Jennifer called, approaching hesitantly. The girl stopped running and looked at the woman curiously before hiding behind Jasmine's legs. The moment was painful for everyone involved. "You must be the nanny," Jennifer said to Jasmine, her voice a mix of gratitude and jealousy. "Thank you for taking such good care of my daughter." Jasmine immediately sensed the complexity of the situation. "Emma, do you remember Mommy?" she asked gently. The girl waved timidly, but didn't move away from Jasmine. Jennifer knelt down to her daughter's level, trying to hold back tears. "Mommy's here, sweetheart. I missed you so much," Jennifer said, opening her arms. Emma looked at Jasmine as if asking for permission or guidance. The nanny gently encouraged her. "You can hug your mommy, Emma. She came to see you." The reunion was tense and emotional. Emma let Jennifer pick her up, but soon wanted to go back to Jasmine. It was clear the bond between mother and daughter had been strained by the months apart. "She seems very attached to you," Jennifer remarked, watching how Emma clung to Jasmine's blouse. "It's natural. I spent a lot of time with her during a difficult period. But a mother's love is irreplaceable," Jasmine replied, diplomatically. Jennifer explained she had spent the last few months in treatment for depression at a private clinic. She had left the family when she realized she couldn't properly care for Emma, fearing her emotional state would only harm her daughter more. "I was in a very bad place, Jasmine. I couldn't get out of bed, didn't have the strength to take care of Emma. I thought it would be better for her if I stepped away until I could get proper help." The explanation brought new understanding. Jennifer hadn't abandoned her family out of a lack of love, but because of a health condition that kept her from being the mother she wanted to be. "And now? Are you better?" Jasmine asked. "Much better. I go to therapy 3 times a week and take medication. I want my family back, but I know I have to rebuild trust slowly." That night, Jasmine told Michael about the meeting in the park. The news shook him deeply. For months, he had harbored anger and resentment toward the woman he believed had irresponsibly abandoned their family. Learning Jennifer had been battling an illness completely changed his perspective. "She wants to talk to me," Jasmine said. "She asked me to arrange a conversation between you two." Michael lay awake all night, thinking about the implications of Jennifer's return. Conflicting emotions swirled inside him: relief that she was alive and well, anger over the months of suffering, hope of rebuilding their family, and fear that Emma might be confused by the changes. The next day, Jennifer came to the house. The couple's reunion was tense, filled with unresolved emotions. Jasmine took care of Emma in another room to give the parents privacy. "Michael, I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness after everything you've been through," Jennifer began, tears in her eyes. "Jennifer, why didn't you tell me about the depression? We could have faced it together," Michael replied, trying to steady his voice. "Because I didn't understand what was happening to me. I woke up not wanting to live, couldn't take care of Emma without having panic attacks. I thought you'd both be better off without me." The conversation lasted hours. Jennifer explained the months of treatment, the intensive therapy, the painful process of recognizing and treating postpartum depression that had worsened over time. Michael, in turn, shared the despair of the past months, the struggles with Emma, and how Jasmine had been crucial in stabilizing their lives. "She saved our daughter, Michael. And maybe she saved our family too, by giving me time to recover properly," Jennifer said, referring to Jasmine. In the weeks that followed, a delicate process of reintegration began. Jennifer visited the house daily, always with Jasmine present to help mediate the relationship between mother and daughter. Emma gradually grew closer to Jennifer, but remained deeply attached to Jasmine. The situation created a complex dilemma for everyone involved. Jasmine knew her presence was temporary. With Jennifer back, there wouldn't be a need for a full-time nanny. But Emma had developed an emotional dependence on her that couldn't be broken abruptly. "I'm afraid of hurting Emma when I leave," Jasmine confessed to Michael one night after the girl had fallen asleep. "Who said you're leaving?" Michael replied, surprised. "Jennifer is back. Emma doesn't need a nanny anymore." "Jasmine, you've become part of this family. Emma needs you, I need you, and I believe even Jennifer recognizes your importance." The conversation was interrupted by Emma crying in her room. It had been rare for her to wake up during the night in recent weeks, but that evening, she'd had a nightmare. Jasmine rushed to comfort her. "Aunt Jasmine, are you leaving?" Emma asked between sobs. "Why are you thinking about that, sweetheart? Mommy's back, now you don't have to take care of me anymore." The child's worry revealed an anxiety the adults hadn't noticed. Emma feared another loss, another important absence in her life. Jasmine reassured her, but realized the situation needed to be resolved clearly. The next day, Jasmine, Michael, and Jennifer met to discuss the future. The conversation was frank and emotionally intense. "Jennifer, I need to be honest with you," Jasmine said. "Emma has formed a very strong bond with me these past months. She needs stability now." "I know, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm also her mother, and I want to reclaim my place," Jennifer replied, a mix of determination and insecurity in her voice. "This isn't about replacing anyone," Michael interjected. "Maybe we can find a way for all of us to coexist. Emma would benefit from having both you and Jasmine around." The proposal was unusual, but it made sense for Emma's well-being. After much discussion, they reached an agreement. Jasmine would stay on as the nanny for a few more months, helping with the transition and ensuring stability for Emma, while Jennifer gradually reintegrated into the family routine. But the solution brought new challenges. Living together daily meant navigating subtle tensions between Jennifer and Jasmine. Though they respected each other, there was a natural competition for Emma's affection, which the child noticed and sometimes found confusing. "Mommy, can I play with Aunt Jasmine?" Emma asked one afternoon, when Jennifer was trying to convince her to do a puzzle. "Of course, sweetheart, but how about we play together first?" Jennifer suggested, masking her jealousy. Emma nodded, but her eyes searched the house for Jasmine. The dynamic was delicate and required wisdom from all the adults involved. One afternoon, while Emma napped, Jennifer and Jasmine finally spoke openly about their feelings. "Jasmine, I need to confess I sometimes feel jealous, not of you as a person, but of the time you had with Emma while I was gone," Jennifer admitted. "I completely understand. I'd feel the same in your place. But I want you to know I never tried to replace you. I just cared for her the best way I could," Jasmine replied sincerely. "And you did an amazing job. Emma is well cared for, happy, developing normally. I know I owe that to you." The conversation paved the way for a more harmonious relationship between the two women. They began working as a team, sharing responsibilities and decisions about Emma. Jasmine taught Jennifer some techniques she'd developed to calm the girl, while Jennifer gradually reclaimed her maternal role. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. 3 months after Jennifer's return, the family had found a new balance. Emma showed affection for both her mother and the nanny, and had stopped displaying anxiety about possible abandonment. The little girl felt more secure and confident. Michael Reynolds observed these changes with satisfaction, but also with growing concern. Jennifer was visibly better, actively participating in Emma's routine and showing emotional stability. Soon there would be no reason to keep Jasmine on full-time. "Jasmine, I need to talk to you," Michael said one evening after Jennifer had gone home. She had decided to stay temporarily with her mother to ease the gradual transition. "I imagine it's about my job here." "Yes, Jennifer is doing well. Emma has adjusted. Soon we won't need a full-time nanny anymore." Jasmine nodded, though her heart tightened. She had grown deeply attached to the family, and knew leaving would be painful for everyone, especially for Emma. "When do you need me to leave?" "It's not about leaving, Jasmine. It's about redefining your role here. How would you feel about becoming the housekeeper? You'd continue living here, help with Emma part-time, and take on other household responsibilities." The offer surprised Jasmine. It meant stability, the chance to stay close to Emma, and a valued position in the family. "I need to think about it," she replied. "Of course, but know that you'll always have a place in this family, no matter what role you take." That night, Jasmine reflected deeply on her life. She had arrived at Michael's home as a desperate young woman, fleeing the pain of losing her mother and seeking only survival. She had found far more than work. She had discovered purpose, affection, and a family that welcomed her. But there were practical matters to consider. As housekeeper, she would have financial stability and the chance to take a vocational course in her free time, something she had always wanted but could never afford. The offer represented personal and professional growth. The next day, Jasmine gave her answer. She would accept the role of housekeeper, but on one condition. She wanted to continue caring for Emma a few hours each day to maintain their bond and help with the girl's ongoing adjustment. The decision pleased everyone. Jennifer felt more comfortable gradually taking on full maternal responsibilities. Michael had the assurance that the household would continue running smoothly, and Emma kept the security of having Jasmine nearby. In the following months, the new dynamic settled naturally. Jennifer moved back into the house, fully resuming her role as mother and wife. Jasmine took over household management while remaining Emma's part-time caregiver. Jasmine's presence also benefited Michael and Jennifer's relationship. She mediated conflicts when needed, offered neutral perspectives on family matters, and her experience with Emma during the difficult months provided valuable insights for the parents. "Jasmine, can I ask you something personal?" Jennifer said one afternoon as they prepared dinner together. "Of course. Don't you ever think about starting your own family? You're only 24, you could date, get married, have children." Jasmine paused her vegetable chopping and considered the question. "For now, I'm focused on professional growth. I plan to take a business administration course. As for family, maybe someday, but right now I feel fulfilled taking care of all of you." "You deserve your own happiness, Jasmine. You can't devote your whole life to someone else's family." Jennifer's remark made Jasmine reflect on her personal goals. She had grown comfortable in the Reynolds family's safe haven, but perhaps it was time to think about building something of her own. A few weeks later, during Emma's third birthday party, Jasmine met Brandon, a physical education teacher at the school where they planned to enroll Emma the following year. He had been invited by Michael to talk about the school adjustment process. "So you're the famous Jasmine who managed to work that miraculous transformation with Emma," said Brandon with a warm smile. "It wasn't a miracle. It was patience and a lot of love," Jasmine replied, blushing slightly. "Modesty aside, what you did was extraordinary. I've worked with children for 10 years and I know how hard it is to handle childhood emotional trauma." The conversation flowed naturally. Brandon seemed genuinely interested in Jasmine's experience and impressed by her practical wisdom about child development. At the end of the party, he asked for her number. "I'd like to take you out for coffee. We could exchange experiences about working with kids," Brandon said. Jasmine accepted the invitation, but with some caution. It had been a long time since she'd thought about romantic relationships, completely focused on work and the Reynolds family. Their first date was at a cafe near the school where Brandon worked. They talked about early childhood education, teaching methods, and discovered they shared very similar views on child development. "Have you ever thought about studying education? You have a natural talent for it," Brandon suggested. "I'd considered business, but education could be interesting too. I know a college that offers night classes in education. You could work during the day and study at night." The idea planted a seed in Jasmine's mind. She'd always enjoyed working with children, and a degree in education would open many professional doors. Over the following weeks, Jasmine and Brandon met more often. Their friendship naturally grew into something closer. He was kind, smart, and shared her important values about family and education. "Jasmine, you've been different lately," Emma observed during playtime in the garden. "You're smiling more." "It's true, I am happy. And you, sweetheart, how are you feeling?" "Good. I like that Mommy lives here again. I like that you still take care of me. And I like that Daddy smiles more too." Emma's comment confirmed that family balance had been restored. The little girl felt secure with all the important figures present in her life. One evening during dinner, Jasmine decided to share her news with the Reynolds family. "I'd like to tell you all that I'm thinking about going to college for education. And also, I'm seeing someone." "That's wonderful, Jasmine," Jennifer exclaimed. "Who's the lucky man?" "His name is Brandon. He's the PE teacher at Emma's school." "The young man from the birthday party?" Michael asked. "He seemed very nice." Yes, that's him. We're still getting to know each other, but it's going well. Emma, who was listening carefully, asked an innocent but profound question. Aunt Jasmine, are you going to get married and have babies? I don't know, sweetheart. For now, we're taking it slow. But if that ever happens, you'll always be special to me. The possibility of future changes in Jasmine's life sparked reflection for the whole family. There was an awareness that she wouldn't stay forever, and it was important to support her personal growth. In the following months, Jasmine enrolled in the education program and began attending night classes. Her relationship with Brandon deepened, and he started visiting the house occasionally, welcomed by everyone. Emma quickly grew fond of Brandon, who had a special way with children. He played with her in the garden, taught her educational games, and gradually became part of the family dynamic. Daddy, do you like Aunt Jasmine's boyfriend? Emma asked during a walk in the park. I do. He seems like a good person and makes Aunt Jasmine happy. That's what matters. What if they get married? Will Aunt Jasmine still live with us? The question brought up an issue everyone had avoided discussing. Michael knew that eventually Jasmine would build her own life, but the thought of losing her caused anxiety for the whole family. One afternoon, Jasmine asked to speak privately with Michael and Jennifer. I need to talk about my future here. Brandon and I are in a serious relationship, and in a few months we might have to make important decisions about where to live. We understand, Jasmine. You have every right to build your life, said Jennifer. But we don't want you to feel pressured to leave, Michael added. This will always be your home. Thank you. But I also know it might be complicated to have a couple living here with you. I need to think about other options. The conversation didn't reach any final decisions, but it made clear that everyone was aware of the changes ahead. 2 weeks later, during a college class, Jasmine met Professor Kimberly, an experienced educator who ran a social project for early childhood education in underserved communities. Jasmine, I've been following your progress in class. You have a natural talent for teaching. Would you like to join a weekend volunteer project? The project involved working with children from low-income families, organizing educational and recreational activities. Jasmine accepted immediately, seeing a chance to put her knowledge into practice. In her first days of volunteering, Jasmine was deeply moved. She saw reflections of her own difficult childhood in rural Alabama in those underprivileged children. The experience confirmed her calling for early childhood education. How was your first day at the project? Brandon asked when she got home. Incredible. I worked with kids who reminded me so much of myself when I was little. I felt like I was exactly where I belonged. That's wonderful. You light up when you talk about working with children. The volunteer project broadened Jasmine's horizons. She began envisioning a professional future dedicated to social education, working with underserved communities, and making a difference in children's lives. One night, Emma had a touching conversation with Jasmine before bed. Aunt Jasmine, are you going to work with other kids when you grow up? Why do you ask, sweetheart? Because I heard you talking to Brandon about the poor kids. Will you take care of them too? Maybe, but you'll always be special to me. You're the one who taught me how to care for children. So I helped you become a teacher. Yes, you did. A lot. Emma smiled proudly, feeling important for having helped Jasmine grow. The conversation showed the emotional maturity the little girl had developed through it all. 6 months later, Jasmine received an unexpected offer. Professor Kimberly invited her to work full-time for the social project, which had secured funding to hire qualified educators. The position is yours, Jasmine. Competitive pay, room for growth, and the chance to make a real difference in hundreds of children's lives. The offer represented everything Jasmine had ever dreamed of professionally, but it also meant leaving the Reynolds family, something that still terrified her emotionally. Can I have a few days to think about it? Of course, but this is a rare opportunity. That night, Jasmine barely slept, weighing all the implications. Brandon encouraged her to accept, seeing it as a chance for her career. But she feared how the change would affect Emma. The next day, she decided to talk openly with the Reynolds family about the offer. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for my career, Jasmine explained, but I'm scared of how Emma will react if I leave. Jasmine, you can't give up your dreams for us, Jennifer said. Emma is strong now. She has me and Michael. She'll understand. But what if she regresses? What if she starts having trouble sleeping again? That won't happen, Michael intervened. Emma has learned to handle changes, and you'll always be part of our lives, even living somewhere else. The conversation with Emma was harder than they expected. The little girl, now 3.5 years old, understood more about goodbyes and arrivals. Aunt Jasmine, are you leaving like Mommy did? No, sweetheart, I'm going to work somewhere else, but I'll visit you all the time. And you can visit me too. But you won't sleep here anymore? No, I'll live somewhere else with Brandon. Emma was sad but didn't show the same despair as before. The emotional stability she had built over the months helped her process the change better. After much reflection, Jasmine accepted Professor Kimberly's offer. It would be a gradual transition. She would keep working part-time at the Reynolds home for 2 months while adjusting to her new job. The transition period was emotionally intense for everyone. Emma swung between acceptance and tantrums, but gradually adjusted to the idea that Jasmine would still be in her life, just in a different way. Brandon moved into an apartment near the community project, and Jasmine joined him 2 weeks before leaving the Reynolds home for good. The move was celebrated with a farewell party organized by the family. Jasmine, you changed our lives, Michael said during a toast. You came here as our nanny and became our daughter. You'll always have our gratitude and love. Thank you for taking me in when I needed it most. You gave me far more than I could ever repay, Jasmine replied, moved. Emma handed Jasmine a drawing she had made, a family of 5. Daddy, Mommy, Emma, Aunt Jasmine, and Uncle Brandon. It's our big family, Emma explained. Even if we live far apart, we're still family. Jasmine's new job at the community project was a success from the start. Her hands-on experience with Emma, combined with her college studies, made her an exceptionally effective educator. She mostly worked with children aged 3 to 6 from troubled homes, applying many of the techniques she had developed while caring for Emma. Her ability to emotionally connect with traumatized children set her apart. Jasmine, you have a special gift, Professor Kimberly remarked after 3 months. The children respond to you in a unique way. I learned from a very special little girl that sometimes children just need someone to understand their pain before they can heal, Jasmine replied. Her relationship with Brandon also flourished. They complemented each other professionally, exchanging insights on early childhood education and developing joint projects. They lived happily in their small but cozy apartment. Jasmine visited Emma every week, keeping their bond strong. The little girl had adjusted well to life without a nanny, showing impressive independence and emotional maturity. Aunt Jasmine, I'm proud of you, Emma said during one visit. You're helping so many kids like you helped me. And I'm proud of you too. You taught me how to be strong and overcome hardships. A year after leaving the Reynolds home, Jasmine got a promotion at the community project. She became the educational coordinator, responsible for training other teachers. Her career was solid and full of promise. During a visit to the Reynolds family to celebrate Emma's 4th birthday, Jasmine made a special announcement. I have 2 pieces of news. First, I graduated from college. Second, Brandon and I are getting married. The news was met with joy and emotion. Emma wanted to know every detail about the wedding and if she could be the flower girl. Of course you can, sweetheart. You'll be my special little flower girl, said Jasmine, hugging Emma. The wedding took place 6 months later in a simple yet heartfelt ceremony. Emma truly was the flower girl, wearing a pink dress she had picked out herself. The Reynolds family held a place of honor at the ceremony, representing Jasmine's chosen family. During the reception, Michael gave a touching speech about how Jasmine had saved his family in their darkest moments and how rewarding it was to see her building her own happiness. Jasmine came into our lives like an angel. She took care of our Emma when we needed it most, helped our family rebuild, and today we celebrate her happiness as if she were our own daughter. 2 years after the wedding, Jasmine and Brandon welcomed their first child, a boy they named Ethan. Emma was overjoyed to learn she'd be like a big sister to the baby. Aunt Jasmine, I'll teach Ethan everything you taught me, promised Emma, now 6 years old and full of childlike wisdom. The circle had completed itself beautifully. Jasmine, who had arrived as a lost young woman merely seeking survival, had found family, purpose, love, and professional fulfillment. Emma, once a child traumatized by her mother's absence, had grown strong and secure, capable of offering love and care to others. At Ethan's christening in the same church where Jasmine and Brandon had married, the entire extended family was present. Michael and Jennifer were the godparents, symbolizing how bonds formed by love can be as strong as blood. "Thank you for letting me be part of this family," Jasmine told Michael and Jennifer during the christening celebration. "Thank you for saving our daughter and teaching us what family really means," Michael replied. The story of the nanny who came to put a child to sleep and ended up transforming lives became legendary in the neighborhood. Many families sought Jasmine's advice on child rearing, and she always helped with kindness, remembering how it all began with a special little girl named Emma. Years later, when Emma was 10 and Ethan was 3, they played together in the same garden where Jasmine had first watered plants with Emma. The two children tended to the flowers, continuing a tradition of love and care that Jasmine had planted. "Ethan, do you know why we take care of the plants?" Emma asked her little adoptive brother. "No. Why, Emma?" "Because when we care for something with love, it grows strong and beautiful, just like Aunt Jasmine did with me when I was little. Wisdom passed down through generations, love multiplied instead of divided, and the certainty that family is built with affection, not just blood." The little girl who couldn't sleep had become a confident, loving child. The novice nanny had become a respected educator and a fulfilled mother. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this heartwarming tale of resilience and family. Do you believe love can truly heal such deep wounds? Share your honest thoughts in the comments. Which part of the story touched your heart the most? Don't forget to like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other soul-warming stories.